Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be more of a sort of like I'm venting type of video, but I also want to address having boundaries when you're chronically ill and having boundaries with other people who are having health struggles or who are dealing with their own thing. A lot of time I think we feel because we are chronically ill and someone reaches out to us that is also struggling with their health or maybe struggling with the health of someone in their family, that we sort of feel obligated to help them. And I kind of found myself in this situation recently. A lady reached out to me through Facebook. Many years ago, I left a review. I'm in one of the Lyme disease groups on Facebook, and we were asked to leave reviews of our doctors. That way, other people that were looking for a Lyme literate physician could refer to our reviews, our personal reviews from patients, in order to make a better decision. And I was like, that's great, And I have a doctor who is a bit complicated as far as her personality. She's very intelligent. She's really smart. She's great. She knows a lot about the condition, but unfortunately, she has a lot of personality defects, and so. This was many years ago. This lady must have seen this review and was like, "Oh, she actually took her son. Her son is autistic. She took her son to see, my doctor." And so she reached out to me and she's like, "Oh yeah, I just took my son and the doctor already, sent him for blood work and stuff like that." And I was like, "That's great." She asked me for my opinion of the doctor, and I gave her my honest opinion. I said she's a really good doctor, but she just is, she has her days. And so it was like a pretty decent conversation. I didn't notice anything weird off the bat. She told me a little bit about what was going on and what the doctor was recommending for her son. And then she did start asking me, like, have you tried like such and such therapy and this and that? And I thought, it's just casual conversation. And then that conversation finished, and that was that. And then we've had like three exchanges. And each exchange, she has asked me if I've tried certain therapies. And as each conversation has progressed, the therapies that she's asked if I've tried have gotten like a little bit weirder and weirder. And that's fine. People can try whatever they want to try. Obviously, I don't know if she's trying it or if she's trying it on her son, but I don't know. But I don't know. I was just like, we're just having a little bit of an exchange. We would exchange a few messages and then, she would move on. She was like, we're just waiting for the blood work to come back. And I was like, cool, well, let me know what they find. Or I don't know, I think I told her something like that, like keep me posted or whatever. So she finally did. She got back to me like a couple days ago. And this is when things kind of started going a little bit off the rails. And this is something that I do notice a lot, when I've gone on to support groups or when I've messaged with people that also have Lyme disease or, any chronic illness, is that some people are just so... I think there are other mental health problems in there. They're so overwhelmed by their condition. They're so overwhelmed by their pain and their suffering that it's just, they've sort of blown a gasket and they just kind of can't, they have no other, nothing else, I guess, to focus on besides their illness. And there is kind of this, and I've talked about this when it comes to Lyme disease. There is this sort of cult-like vibe in the Lyme community, and in the autism community it can be very similar. There is a autism moms type of cliquey group situation, and that can be very dangerous. And so this last exchange that I had with her, she actually sent me her son's blood work, which I wouldn't recommend that you send your blood work to just a random stranger. But I told her, I said, it looks like you will be getting, I think actually that was the second That was the second group of messages. And then she actually went and followed up with the doctor and also started messaging me again. And she was like, yeah, the doctor is going to try to get him this medication. And when she had shown me her son's blood work, I knew right away. I was like, he's going to be able to get IVIG, which is a medication that I struggled to get. That I needed it so badly, and it took me 4 years to get it, and I just really struggled to get that medication. And for when I saw the blood work, I was like, you guys are going to be able to get it, and she's going to be able to get you insurance coverage for this. And that's what she told her at this last appointment. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, that's really great. I was like, that's a really great starting point. And she was like, yeah. And then she starts asking me if I've tried all these other therapies. And, I start getting the vibe, and this has happened with other people as well. There are people who, for whatever reason, like I said, it's either some kind of trauma response, or they have other mental health problems that they haven't dealt with yet. And it's just like they're always looking for something else. They're always looking for something. And to me, the fact that she's going to be able to get this medication and be able to get insurance coverage, for her son, is like, that's incredible. Like, that's really great. It can really help him a lot. And it's like, oh, well, have you tried this other thing? Have you tried this other thing? Have you tried this other thing? And this last conversation that we had, or this exchange, it did get to the point where I was like, okay, like, this is not, like, I was just getting tired. I was like, and she even said it. She's like, sorry if I'm overwhelming you. And it's like, well, like, and again, these people, I'm sure she's done this to everybody and anybody in her family that will listen to her spouse, everyone, because they jump from person to person to person and emotionally exhaust that person. And then they go, okay, I need to find someone else. I need to find someone else to obsess over this with. And I've had that experience with other people and they will tell me, they're like, yeah, my family doesn't want to listen to me anymore. They don't want to hear it anymore. And it's like, yeah, because you won't shut up about it. And so, I told her, I said, I think this medication is a great place to start for your son. I think it's going to help him. And then she made this like comment like, well, I've heard that it can make some people worse, or it can make some kids with autism worse. And then it was just like a passing comment. And then we switched the conversation to something else again, asking me if I've tried, some other type of therapy or whatever. And there was a full moon, and did I feel weird because it was a full moon? And so I started picking up on that because I've had this experience with other people. I started picking up on the fact that this was someone who was just moving from one thing to another to another. She had already seen a few different doctors before, and she even told me, she said, if things don't work out with this doctor, I'm going to go see so-and-so. So she already had her next doctor lined up. And once I start seeing this type of behavior, I know that the issue isn't that they are trying to find a solution to, a health problem, or that they're concerned about someone's health. It's become this like hobby or this obsession, and they want to find other people, other like-minded people that will only talk about this kind of stuff, that will only, they only want to talk about all of these crazy little therapies that they've tried and just obsess over this. And the worst part, I remember there was another gentleman that he was also seeing my doctor for a short time, and we met up, and he was very similar. I mean, he brought this, all his blood work. He also had an immune deficiency, and he had told the doctor that he didn't want the medication to help him with that immune deficiency. And I could tell from talking to him that there was something there was something mentally wrong with him. There was something mentally not okay because he was refusing medical treatment. He was refusing to do anything that she asked him to do. Yet he was obsessed with the fact that he had, Lyme disease, and and he's like, I want to cure, and I want to cure this, and I want to cure. And I'm thinking, like, your blood work is showing that you're not doing well. Like, you need to be on this medication. And you start to notice and you start to pick up on the fact that some people are just not mentally well. That the issue is deeper than the Lyme disease that they have or the autism that their child has. That their mental health is not doing well, maybe because of the stress of dealing with a chronic condition. But they're just not okay. And they're not going to get anywhere by jumping from doctor to doctor to doctor and just doing this treatment, and that other treatment. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I think it's a stress response, or a lot of these people come to these issues with pre-existing mental health problems. But for me, I got to the point where I was like, I can't keep texting this lady. I mean, I've been having light sensitivity issues. I had a headache after all of these messages. And I started to realize that I was just spinning my wheels because I would keep telling her, like, that's great, this medication's going to help him. And it was just like a brief discussion on that, and then she would move on and ask me if I had tried some other therapy. And then she starts talking about how Lyme disease, you can get it from other people's urine, and again, she had diagnosed her son with Lyme disease, but no one else had. So I started noticing that there was something missing there, that her son, she was diagnosing him with Lyme disease. He has autism, but she was diagnosing him with this. And I don't think there was any diagnosis made by any doctor for that condition for him. And I have met people, again, in my actual life they tell me, oh, I have Lyme disease, I have this, I have that. But they have not actually been diagnosed by a doctor or have even seen a Lyme literate physician. They'll go to like a chiropractor, and a chiropractor tells them that they have it, or a nutritionist or someone. They go to whoever is going to tell them what they want to hear. And so I started getting that vibe, and I don't like dealing with these types of people because it makes me really angry, because I have struggled so much, particularly with the IVIG situation. And you guys know that I have done several videos about that on this channel. You guys have seen what I look like when I wasn't on IVIG, how thin I was. Then you see how I do when I'm on IVIG. Now you guys have seen what has happened to me because I did the exosomes. And then when I see someone who literally, it's a blessing that their blood work is showing them something concrete that is going to get them this medication that can be life-saving in some cases. And it's just like, oh, well, I don't know. Or I'm already getting that vibe that this is going to be, she'll probably try it for a few months and then move on. Not knowing how difficult it is to get this medication, not knowing how this can change her son's life and make it better. And, she kept asking me, she's like, well, this doctor does other stuff, right? She does other things, right? And I'm just like, yeah, but this is a good starting point. And she's like, does she test for anything else? Like, does she test for Lyme disease? Does she test for other stuff? And it's like, she does, but if this is what she's prescribing for him, if you guys can see that he has an immune deficiency problem, that needs to be handled first. You need to do that first, and that may make a big difference. But like I said before, these people are looking for something else. They're not looking to fix a health problem. There's something else mentally going on. And this is why I tell you guys, you need to have a therapist. You need to see someone that can help you with your mental health, because if you don't work on that, you're never going to get to better health. And to be honest, there's a lot of people that I've met that I don't think really, that's not their goal. I don't think their goal is to achieve better health, or they're not sick enough that they're at that point where they're desperate to get better. And so I was like, I kind of just stopped messaging her back, or I would just be like, oh, cool, or something like that. And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry that I can be overwhelming and this and that. And it's like, well, if you know that you're being like that, then you need to stop that. If you know that you're overwhelming someone, I've had other people tell me the same thing. You know, when I met up with that guy that had the immune deficiency, he was like, yeah, like I can't even talk to my parents anymore because they don't want to hear about this. And it's like, yes, because it's all that you talk about. You know, you have to be able to talk about other things. You have to be able to live a normal life, or a somewhat normal life, with other interests besides this condition. And people do become obsessive about it. It's hard not to. It's hard not to become obsessed with it because it's your everyday. It's here with you all the time. But personally, because of my own health, because of my own stress, I can't take on anybody else's stress. And so, you know, I'm debating whether I should block her or not. I don't want to block her. But, you know, hopefully she will just kind of back off on her own. I'm not a fan of the have you tried this, have you tried that. I don't see this as a hobby. The only reason I will try an experimental therapy is because I'm desperate. Because I'm desperate, because I'm scared, and because nothing else is helping me. And I feel like a lot of these people, you know, some of the things weren't even like, they're just like temporary or quick fixes, or I don't even know. I'm just like, you're spending all this money. She must have a lot of money because the things that she was talking about were so expensive. And again, these are not things that are going to cure you. They might help relieve some issues, but you know, it just, like I said, it seemed like a hobby. It seemed like an obsession. And I don't even know why, you know, because, you know, her son is autistic. Do you have a problem with that? Do you have an issue with him having autism? Do you have, is there some, like, do you need to fix him? I mean, if he's sick, which he does get, you know, he does have a lot of recurrent infections, which is why he needs to be on the medication. That's something that needs to be addressed, because that's something that can hurt him physically, you know. But what, you know, what are you gaining? Like, are you trying to fix this person? What is going on? So when I start seeing things like this, there's an internal issue, there's an internal problem. I have to set my boundaries because I can't take that on. I can't take that on myself, and it's very, very difficult. But you know, this is why I tell you guys, you need to get counseling. You need to have something to anchor you and to give you some kind of focus, because this is dangerous and it's not healthy. It's not healthy. It's going to make your own health worse. It's going to make her son's health worse. You're trying experimental things, you're trying them out on your child, and you really need to be careful with that, especially a child that's autistic. I don't know if he's severe. I've worked with autistic kids on the severe end. They can't talk to you. So if something hurts, he may not be able to tell you. So, you know, to me, I have encountered these people so many times during my time as a chronically ill person. I know that it's unhealthy. I know that it's not a good place to be in mentally. And I wish her well, and she's very lucky. Her son is very lucky that he's going to be able to get this medication. I just hope that she sticks with it, because if you don't stick with something for more than just a few months, you're never going to make progress. And I do think that there are some people that purposefully do that. There is I don't want to say comfort, but that it becomes your routine, it becomes your normal to be sick all the time, or to have this focus of trying to fix someone else, and it's just not healthy. But anyways, I needed to talk about it because I was just so overwhelmed and I felt really bad. That was the other thing, is that I felt so much guilt for kind of just like what do you call it, ghosting her a little bit, and thinking, should I block her because I can't deal with this? I'm already dealing with a lot of issues myself, especially with the doctor that we both have now. And I just don't don't want to deal with this. I don't want to I feel like I feel bad not being empathetic towards her. But if this is just going to be a hobby of, hey, let's talk about what therapies we've tried, I don't, this is not a hobby for me. This sucks. It sucks. I hate being sick. I hate being like this. I hate that I haven't been able to find something that helps, or that at least improves me somewhat significantly. It sucks. And I don't want to be like this anymore. And it's not fun for me to share notes about things. This isn't a hobby. So it feels a bit insulting, but then I feel bad that I can't be there to support someone else, but it's not my job. I don't know who this lady is. I don't know her son. But anyways, thank you guys so much. Leave a comment down below if you've had this experience with other people, because it is tough to navigate, but I have learned to just be selfish. I have learned to just be like, I don't care. It's none of my business. That's your problem. I have my own issues. And I suggest for some of you out there that are struggling with your own health, you do kind of have to adopt that type of an attitude, because you can't take on someone else's problems. But anyways, thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.